Back now at 5:30 with a slim GOP majority in Congress. Eyes across the nation are focused on Kern County Congressman David Valadao. Valadao's swing district is a House seat coveted by Democrats and Republicans alike.
Eyewitness News had a chance to hear from Valadao a day after voting to impeach Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. Will Silverstein has the reason behind the vote. Will.
Well, Michael Rochelle, Representative Valadao's vote came down to an evaluation of Mayorkas' performance and honesty. Valadao also sees blame on both sides of the aisle for failing to negotiate a deal on protecting the border. Here's what the Central Valley Congressman had to say.
He needs to do his job, step up, and he hasn't, and so he needs to go.
United States Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas is likely not going anywhere, as the Democrat-controlled Senate will likely keep him in power. The embattled secretary is now front and center of the blame for the migrant crisis, and House members like Valadao want to see him go.
We've got a secretary now that hasn't done his job. He hasn't delivered, and I think he's been dishonest with us as a Congress. And again, there's a dereliction of duty here. He has a responsibility to secure the border. We can honestly see how bad the border security issue is. The numbers are through the roof, and for him to actually come to Congress and say that he has operational control, he's being dishonest. There's a lot of frustration because the border situation is a disaster right now.
The buck does not stop with Mayorkas. Valadao contributes a large portion of the problems on the border to President Biden's policies on migrant crossings.
Republicans are frustrated with the administration because they did roll back a lot of the policies that were working well on the border as soon as the president took the office. And I feel like if he really wanted to do something and show some good faith effort, I think the president should step up and do as much as he possibly can within his legal ability.
But that does not mean his own party is not to blame for continuing the crisis. Valadao hit at Republicans who have since reversed course on policy touted as wins by the GOP in last year's H.R. 2 bill that passed through the House.
We passed H.R. 2 last May off the House floor, so we know there's some policies that Republicans support. And we also know that there are things that we need to put into law that could help strengthen the border as well. Making sure that we fund infrastructure where it makes sense, technology where it makes sense, enough Border Patrol agents where it makes sense. I mean, all those things are things that we need to do as a Congress.
Given the swing district Valadao serves, he knows a thing or two about being caught in the middle, and like many Americans, he is left witnessing finger-pointing and feeling frustrated at the negotiations to protect the border.
I think we can point fingers at both sides on this one, and it obviously frustrates people at home, and it frustrates me.
Now, up next for the longtime congressman is a stacked agenda of finding a permanent deal on the budget, somehow passing that border legislation, and of course, that further debate on foreign aid. Reporting in studio, Will Silverstein, Eyewitness News.